On a bustling street corner in a vibrant American city, a homeless veteran named Tom Carter stood with a weathered sign that read, "Veteran, any help appreciated." For 3 long years, Tom had navigated the cold hard pavement, asking for spare change. Each day was a struggle, but today felt particularly heavy. The morning air was crisp, and he could see his breath as he whispered his familiar plea, "Can you spare $1?" He had said this phrase countless times, but today, his voice was hoarse from the previous night spent shivering in the rain. His military jacket, once proud and crisp, had long lost its shine, just like his spirit. As people rushed past him, their eyes glued to their phones, Tom felt the invisible barrier that separated his world from theirs. They hurried by, indifferent to his presence, lost in their own lives. Then, something unexpected happened. A man in his early 40s, wearing a simple gray hoodie and worn jeans, paused in front of Tom. Their eyes met, and Tom felt a jolt of recognition, though he couldn't quite place it. "Here you go," the man said, pulling out a crisp dollar bill from his wallet. "Take care." Tom's heart lifted as he accepted the dollar, grateful for the kindness. "Thank you, sir." "God bless you," he replied, the sincerity in his voice surprising even himself. This interaction felt different, genuine. The man nodded and started to walk away, but Tom called out, "Wait. What's your name?" "David," the man replied without turning back, disappearing into the crowd. Tom clutched the dollar, but his attention was soon drawn to Linda, an elderly woman he had met at the local shelter just days before. She sat huddled in her usual spot, shivering despite the layers of old clothes she wore. Without a second thought, Tom walked to a nearby coffee cart, where Tony, the vendor, recognized him. "You sure about this?" Tony asked, raising an eyebrow. "Haven't seen you buy coffee in a while." "Just one small coffee, please." "Extra hot," Tom replied, sliding the dollar across the cart. He could feel Tony's eyes on him, skeptical yet curious. As he made his way back to Linda, he noticed David lingering nearby, watching him. Tom approached Linda, who looked up in surprise. "Tom? What are you doing?" "It's cold today, Linda." "You need this more than I do," he said, pressing the warm cup into her trembling hands. "Careful, it's hot." Tears welled in Linda's eyes. "But you haven't eaten, have you?" "The shelter serves lunch in a few hours." "I can wait," Tom replied with a smile. He adjusted the newspapers around her shoulders, ensuring she was warm. A memory flickered in his mind, his own mother, who had passed away while he was deployed. Linda's kind eyes reminded him of her, filling him with a mix of nostalgia and sadness. Meanwhile, David, the man who had given Tom the dollar, observed this act of kindness closely. As the CEO of a tech company, he was used to people wanting something from him, but Tom was different. David watched as Tom spent time ensuring Linda was comfortable, cracking quiet jokes that brought a smile to her face. The scene stirred something deep within him, a memory of a time when he had nothing, and a stranger's kindness had meant everything. As the morning wore on, Tom continued his routine of asking for help, but now he added a new element. For every passerby, he offered a piece of advice or a kind word. "Watch your step, sir, the pavement's uneven," or, "Ma'am, you dropped your scarf back there." Each small kindness energized him rather than depleting his spirit. David, intrigued, began to investigate Tom's background. He called his assistant and requested a full report on the homeless veteran who frequented Fifth Avenue. "I need to know everything: military background, personal history." "Everything," he insisted. Throughout the week, David donned simple clothes to blend in with the crowd, observing Tom's daily interactions. He noticed how Tom greeted Linda each morning with a smile and shared the weather report. He watched as Tom helped an elderly man cross the street, provided directions to lost tourists, and even shared his bottle of water with a stray dog. One day, David dropped a $5 bill near Tom's usual spot, watching from a distance. Tom discovered the money and, rather than pocketing it, looked around for its owner. When no one claimed it, he walked straight to the pharmacy and emerged with cold medicine and socks, heading directly to Linda's corner. "You needed these, Linda," Tom said, handing over the items. "I found some money today, must be a sign." David continued to test Tom's character, leaving an envelope with $200 in his path the next day. When Tom found the money, he walked to the local shelter and donated it to help feed those in need. David's admiration for Tom grew with each act of kindness he witnessed. One rainy afternoon, David watched as Tom gave up his only dry blanket to a young woman with a child. That night, Tom huddled under a thin jacket, shivering but smiling every time he caught sight of the mother and child sleeping soundly in the shelter doorway. David's security team had compiled a report on Tom's background, revealing that he was a decorated veteran and former combat medic. But the report left out a crucial piece of information: how someone with such a distinguished service record had ended up on the streets. The answer came unexpectedly one quiet morning when David overheard Tom sharing his story with a new veteran struggling with PTSD. "PTSD is not a weakness," Tom explained gently. "It's a scar from fighting for something bigger than ourselves. When I lost my wife, Sarah, to cancer while deployed, those scars deepened." David felt a tightness in his chest as Tom spoke, recognizing the raw pain in his voice. As the week progressed, David realized he wasn't just observing Tom, he was learning from him. Each act of kindness revealed a man who had lost everything yet somehow retained his spirit. David felt compelled to reach out, but he needed a plan. One morning, he approached Tom while he was helping an elderly man with his groceries. "Mind if I join you?" David asked, extending a coffee cup. Tom looked up, recognition flickering in his eyes. "You're the guy from the corner," he said, accepting the coffee. "Not much company out here these days." "I've been watching you," David admitted. "The way you help others, even when you have nothing yourself, it reminds me of someone I once knew." Tom shifted uncomfortably but didn't press for details. "Just doing what I can," he replied, his voice rough from the cold. David took a deep breath. "You helped my father survive once." He spoke about a medic who saved his life during a mission. "That medic was you, wasn't it?" Tom's gaze sharpened. "How do you know about that?" "I found out through my research. You saved my father's life during a classified operation. Because of you, I had one more year with him before he passed." Tom stared at David, the weight of recognition dawning on him. "I didn't know. I just did what I was trained to do." David smiled, his heart full. "You did more than that. You gave me a chance to know him longer. Now I want to give you something back." Tom shook his head, pride flooding his voice. "I don't need charity." "It's not charity," David insisted. "It's justice. You've helped more people than you realize. I want to help you help others." He handed Tom a business card. "I'm starting a foundation dedicated to helping veterans like you rebuild their lives. You could be a part of it." Tom studied the card in disbelief, his heart racing. "What's the catch?" "There's no catch. Just a chance to use your experience to help others. You've already helped so many. Imagine what you could do with resources behind you." As Tom considered the offer, he glanced at the young veteran across the street, who was struggling to blend in with the crowd. "What about them?" Tom asked, nodding toward the young man. "Can we help him too?" "Absolutely," David replied, a smile spreading across his face. "This isn't just about you. It's about helping all veterans who need support." Tom took a deep breath, feeling the weight of possibility. "Okay, I'll do it. Not for me, but for all the others who need someone to understand." David extended his hand, and Tom shook it firmly, sealing their partnership. As they walked toward David's car, Tom couldn't help but feel that this was the beginning of a new chapter in his life, one filled with purpose and hope. The following months passed in a whirlwind of activity. With David's help, Tom transitioned from the streets to a small apartment. He attended therapy sessions for his PTSD and began to heal. The Second Chances Foundation took shape, focusing on providing housing, job training, and mental health support for veterans. Tom's insights and experiences shaped the foundation's mission. He became a beacon of hope for others, sharing his story at veteran events and encouraging them to reclaim their lives. His art, once a solitary pastime, now served as a powerful tool for connection and healing. As the foundation grew, Tom found himself at the podium of a national veterans conference, sharing his journey from the streets to the stage. 5 years ago, I was asking for $1, he began, his voice steady and confident. Today, I'm asking for your understanding and support. The crowd listened intently as Tom recounted the impact of kindness and the importance of recognizing the value of every life. Every veteran has a story worth telling, he concluded, his heart full as he looked out at the faces of those he had helped. In that moment, Tom realized that the dollar given to him years ago had set off a ripple effect of change, one that had transformed not only his life but the lives of countless others. And as he stood there, he knew that the journey of kindness and compassion would continue to spread, touching lives in ways he could never have imagined.